Today, we present the facts as they are and explain our plans for the coming months, fully aware that some key variables and assumptions may change in the coming days or weeks.
President Buhari addresses Nigerians on COVID-19 once again, relaxes lockdown.
The issue of a 5,000 naira hazard allowance, which I did say started in 1991, that there's no way that can be applicable for this period. And what has been done is to raise that up and make it a percentage of the basic salary. And it's on.
Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 announces government special incentives for health workers fighting the coronavirus. Mysterious deaths in Kano. What is responsible? Welcome to NT Network News at 9. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Reading with me tonight is Dr. Ogunyemi in Lagos. President Muhammadu Buhari says the restriction of movements in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory will be gradually relaxed from Monday, the 4th of May, 2020. He said this decision is based on the recent realities and recommendations by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. President Buhari, in a nationwide broadcast, however, explains that such relaxation will be guided by certain measures to be put in place. Usman Aliyu has highlights of the broadcast.
It's 28 days that normal businesses in Nigeria was halted because of the novel coronavirus. Exactly 2 months now with the first index case. President Buhari, who speaks to the nation, said it was a difficult decision to shut down businesses, but acknowledged that the sacrifice of Nigerians did not go in vain. And so for now, as the president puts it, the situation has necessitated the government to take further decisions to jumpstart the economy, with farming activities commencing. President Buhari, who expressed optimism in winning the battle, said the success of the strategy put in place to curb COVID-19 proved that Nigerian support was the catalyst for the progress recorded.
Based on the above and in line with the recommendation of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, the various federal government committees that have reviewed socio-economic matters and the Nigerian Governors Forum, I have approved a phased and gradual easing of lockdown measures in FCT, Lagos, and Ogun states effective from Monday, 4th of May 2020. However, this will be followed strictly with aggressive reinforcement of testing and contact tracing measures while allowing the restoration of some economic and business activities in certain sectors.
But that decision comes with it other measures that will not compromise the fight to halt spread of the virus. Again, the president emphasized on the new order.
For the avoidance of doubt, the lockdown in FCT, Lagos, and Ogun states shall remain in place until these new ones come into effect on Monday, 4th May 2020. The Presidential Task Force shall provide sector-specific details to allow for preparations by governments, businesses, and institutions. In respect to the above guidelines, the state governors may choose to adapt and expand based on their unique circumstances, provided they maintain alignment with the guidelines issued above.
Meanwhile, the commercial state of Kano, which for now is seriously battling with community transmission, is attracting special attention of the federal government, as outlined by the president.
With regards to Kano, I have directed the enforcement of a total lockdown for a period of 2 weeks effective immediately. The federal government shall deploy all the necessary human, material, and technical resources to support the state in controlling and containing the pandemic and preventing the risk of further spread to neighboring states.
While lamenting over rising figures of the new cases, the president explained that imported cases from other countries has reduced, but only managing those Nigerians coming through land borders. The president expressed deep appreciation to the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, traditional and community leaders for their maximum cooperation to save Nigeria. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
I'm now joined by Nia Akinshiju, a public affairs analyst, to talk more on President Buhari's broadcast to the nation. What do you make of this broadcast, particularly what are your thoughts and observations?
I think what the president has done is to encapsulate the challenges and, of course, the underlying dilemma of the issues, challenges arising from COVID-19. It is principally a dilemma because in matters of options, you do not leave one to the other. I want to principally describe or thematize the broadcast principally as protecting lives, preserving livelihood. In these two pillars, you cannot but do with the two. You can't throw away one for the other. So while there is a challenge of preserving lives, there is also the same challenge of protecting livelihood.
In fact, that was part of the introduction of Mr. President. So he put it that way.
Yeah, and that captures the challenges, as it were, because while people, many Nigerians, are concerned with their health, they are also concerned with sustenance. And the balance, walking the balance, can be challenging. It takes a president that understands the dynamics in the public place to also couch a broadcast that can mitigate the anxiety, because there's a huge anxiety out there. So there's a need to also massage that anxiety in a way that people can be driven with hope. The president had outlined stages, of lifting the lockdown in his address, and has been able to tell us that it's not going to be immediate. But what he has also told us is that the measures put in place before are actually working. And I was taken aback when he said specifically that the model, showed the targeted motion showed 2,000 possible infections in 2 months, in the first 2 months. In the first 2 months now, we have been able to record 1,273. So which means we are below that model target.
So are you saying the lockdown was successful?
To which this figure, because it's about
let's
data.
Look at the other strand of the broadcast, the relaxation. Do you think it's timely?
It's something many Nirians will look forward to. But I think the president has the data. So to say that is considering this lockdown, and it means it is right. It also stole from that broadcast that it was in consultation with the state governors. It is important that it's not just a federal government-led policy position, but a collaboration, with the state governors. So to that extent, I think the president knows the direction he wants to take us. And of course, it's not just going to be a lift up like that. You are also going to have new measures in place to also control the situation.
In fact, I was coming to that. What are your thoughts on the new measures?
Very perfect, because some of us are actually scared, of a complete lift up. We still think there should be some controls and discipline in place. So the controls of the curfew from 8 to 6 a.m. still will also impact the social life, of these three states and the FCT as it were. Don't forget that we are naturally a social inclined population. Our evenings are as full as our mornings and afternoon. So if our evenings are not controlled as it were at this time, and in fact it's in the evening that we cluster the more at bars and all that. So when that is controlled, it's appropriate. And of course, when you also now extend it to the control of religious gathering in mosques and churches, it still means that there are still some discipline being applied, in sustaining the containment, as it were.
Overall, what impact will you say so far Mr. President's national broadcasts have made, particularly since we began the fight against COVID-19?
I think I want to commend the president for his appropriateness. The first address speaks to the urgency of the situation, and of course the need to take a certain measure. Those measures were taken for the first 2 weeks, starting March 29 or thereabouts, and the second one speaks to the achievement and the need, to continue the containment measures. Now, this is the third one, telling us that the containment measures were not just only successful, but that it would achieve this lot, and this control measure will still be in place so that we can achieve more. And perhaps most importantly, Kano had become an
epicenter.
More or less. Well, I want to say that the position of the president is to make a policy deployment to preempt Kano from becoming an epicenter.
Ni Akinsuju, a public affairs analyst, as always, thank you so much for your thoughts.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Reports just reaching out says President Muhammadu Buhari has signed a proclamation order on the management of COVID-19 in Lagos, Ogun, Kano, and the Federal Capital Territory and other states. President Muhammadu Buhari signed the proclamation order on the general management of COVID-19 in Lagos, Ogun, and Kano states and the Federal Capital Territory and other states in Nigeria after his national broadcast some minutes ago. A statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the action was in exercise of the powers conferred on the President by Section 3 of the Quarantine Act, Cap 2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and all powers enabling him in that behalf. Today has been marked as Freedom Day in South Africa, but South Africans are locked down due to COVID-19. And the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson resumes after recovery from coronavirus complications. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has the update on the global pandemic.
On the 26th of April 2020, Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NDDC) confirmed 91 new cases and recorded 5 new deaths in the country. 4 new states, Ebonyi, Bayelsa, Kebbi, and Taraba, reported confirmed cases in the last 24 hours. In total, 1,273 cases have been confirmed, 239 discharged, and 40 deaths have been recorded in 32 states and the Federal Capital Territory. In South Africa, the 2020 Freedom Day is celebrated using online platforms as the people are locked down due to the coronavirus pandemic. The day is in commemoration of the first post-apartheid national elections held in South Africa on the 27th April 1994. South Africa has 4,220 confirmed cases, 87 deaths, and 1,473 recoveries. In the UK, after suffering from a severe case of coronavirus, Prime Minister Boris Johnson returned to work almost a month after he tested positive for COVID-19, with a major challenge of how to lift the lockdown that is negatively affecting the British economy without triggering a deadly second wave of the outbreak. So far, 148,377 persons have been infected by the virus, while 20,319 have died, and many people have recovered in the UK. Worldometer tracker at about 6:50 p.m. Nigerian time shows that coronavirus cases have now reached a new record by infecting 3,000,000 and 19,241 people, out of which 208,110 persons have died, while 889,310 have recovered. I am Adebola, Brooksland Sunday.
The federal government has announced special COVID-19 incentives and allowances for frontline health workers. Under the new package, health workers in the federal government teaching hospitals, medical centers, as well as designated COVID-19 isolation and treatment centers are to be paid 50% of their consolidated basic salary. Mitaire Ikben reports on these and other issues from the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force.
The old gives way for the new at this PTF briefing, as the Minister of State for Health abolished the previous 5,000 naira paid across board to health workers and announced new incentives negotiated with healthcare unions.
A special COVID-19 hazard and inducement allowance of 50% of the consolidated basic salary is to be paid to all health workers in federal government teaching hospitals and federal medical centers to last for the first 3 months in the first instance. B, 40% of the consolidated basic salary will be paid as special COVID-19 hazard and inducement allowance to health workers at special non-public hospitals and clinics. In the interim, government agrees to grant extension of service for a period of 3 months in the first instance for health workers retiring within the COVID-19 period.
As part of the latest incentives, health workers directly managing COVID-19 cases at isolation and treatment centers will get additional 20% of consolidated basic salary as special risk allowance, while non-core medical professionals will get 10% of their basic as risk allowance. The trend of multiple deaths in Kano State continues to be a major concern to the Presidential Task Force.
The federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Health, is deploying a high-powered fact-finding delegation to work with the state to improve COVID-19 response, as well as ask questions
to find out what is going out, to take samples, to send them into the lab.
State governments involved in repatriating Almajiris to their home states were advised to consider their security and welfare.
If we do not deal with the issues relating to the Almajiris, we are building an army that would overwhelm us as a people and as a nation in the future.
I don't know how we can divert Empower funds for the COVID-19 response on palliatives. That is another fake news.
With 2 more molecular laboratories activated in Sokoto and Zaria, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it is in talks with reputable firms to scale up COVID-19 testing capacity in the country. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Time now for some messages. The news continues after this timeout.
Stay connected with your loved ones from wherever you are with the Airtel Home Broadband Device offer. Get up to 160 GB free on Airtel routers with just 19,999 naira and up to 55 GB free on Airtel MiFis with 9,999 naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is to inform distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that the Senate will resume in plenary on Tuesday, 28 April 2020. Distinguished senators are by this notice expected to sit in plenary on Tuesday, 28 April 2020 at 10 a.m. prompt. Staff and senators' aides are to work from home and they will be notified when needed in the office for any special assignment. Mr. Nelson Ayewo, Clerk of the Senate, announcer.
Glow Stay Home Data Plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Give me 100 naira rice and add 888 join up.
Yes.
Which time I go be this now? Not be the same 100 when everybody pays his money.
They no use code.
Which code? Oh boy, no get it for market to get better. 888 now be the code yo. Abi?
Yes, so anytime you recharge with star 888 star pin hash, MTN will summer you with 5 times your recharge. Make you take turn up better a wolf.
In Nigeria, there is one sound we need to silence. So let's silence toothache before it starts with Oral-B all-round protection. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because the only sound we really want to hear is that of our future. For healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
This is to inform all members of the House of Representatives that the House will resume plenary session on Tuesday, April 28, 2020 at 10 a.m. Members are advised accordingly to take note of the new date, please. The COVID-19 guidelines approved by the federal government and Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and additional guidelines developed by the House will be sent to members' pigeonholes for collection on resumption. Staff and members' aides are to work from home and be notified when needed in the office for any special assignment. Announcer Patrick Egiwa, Clerk to the House of Representatives.
Did you know that using bar soap and water protects against viruses? Many viruses are surrounded by an envelope with receptors that enable them to enter a human cell and cause infection. Bar soap destroys the outer layer of the virus and effectively removes it and reduces your chances of contracting the virus. Protect your family from the spread of viruses. Wash your hands using bar soap and water. Brought to you by Medifax and Dental.
Aggressive disease containment.
Now on lockdown.
It is one of the measures taken by the country.
How long is all this for? Scientists say that's the big question.
News that connects you globally, from the world to your home, with 4 leading news channels 24/7. Live breaking stories on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Welcome back to the network news. As the ancient city of Kano continued to witness mysterious deaths, the cause of the calamity is yet to be ascertained. Fatima Sanu's Karaye, who went round the metropolis, reports that the bereaved are in a state of grief.
These people are a group of mourners on their way to bury their loved one. The state that is always vibrant, bustling with business activities, is today on its knees, crying as people are dying mysteriously. A visit to one of the cemeteries at Fage local government area, people were seen mourning their loved ones. In just a span of 24 hours, 28 people were buried in this cemetery.
At least like 25, 18 and above that every day.
Yeah, afraid. People are just dying. This morning alone, we buried 11 people and more are coming.
And the story is the same everywhere in the ancient city. Just on Sunday, Bayero University, Kano, lost 2 of their very best professors. Although most of these deaths are said to have no connection with COVID-19, people are afraid of the unknown. Kano state government described the situation as worrisome, but has commenced investigation to unravel possible causes of death.
The Ministry of Health has swung into action, and they have already been supported by both the NDDC and the Federal Ministry of Health to find out what actually happens.
For now, the residents are praying and hoping for divine intervention. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Karai, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Kano caucus of the House of Representatives has appealed to the federal government and other international organizations to come to the aid of the state by helping to unravel the cause of the strange and mysterious deaths. House Leader Alhassan Adodogwa reiterated the need for concerted efforts to arrest the situation.
We as members of the House of Representatives have come to believe that Kano is actually in a desperate situation. And under this desperate situation, part of our responsibility as members of the House of Representatives is that we must also have to put in place desperate measures and decisions to check the spread of this menace among our communities and among our people. We have decided also to write a letter, official letter, on behalf of the people of Kano State and the government of Kano State to draw the attention of His Excellency Mr. President to what is actually on ground.
The Kano caucus commended measures put in place so far to contain the spread of COVID-19 across the country, adding that similar approaches should be adopted to contain the current health crisis in Kano State. Meanwhile, we have Dr. Sabitu Shuaibu Shanono in our Kano studio. He is the Deputy Coordinator of Kano COVID-19 Task Force and also the Director General of the Kano State Agency for the Control of AIDS. Dr. Sabitu, if you can hear me, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me here.
What will you say, or what's the situation now with regards to testing for COVID-19 in Kano?
As we all know, in the last 5 to 6 days, the testing center in Kano was closed down by NDDC. And from that time on, we have tried to initiate other ways to ensure that our populace have been tested, especially those that are being suspected. And one of the ways we did was to revert to Abuja Center, that is the Gadua Center, where we take our samples and then we put them on the road to Abuja, and that is how we are testing our samples here in Kano. Even though we have had some glitches in terms of commodities for this testing, the transport media and other commodities that are only supplied by NDDC, but I can confirm to you now that we have gotten some, and we have been sending starting from 2 days ago.
Now that the center in Kano does not, or rather is closed, you collect samples and take them to Abuja, like you said. But how do you determine the prevalence of the COVID-19 rates since testing in Kano has stopped?
Testing has stopped as a center, but that doesn't mean that we are no longer testing at all. It means that the logistic of testing has become more cumbersome, and that is why we are calling on NDDC and the federal government, who have the responsibility for this diagnosis, to come and establish more testing centers in Kano. But that doesn't mean that we don't get results. What we do is by sending it to Abuja, we get our result. Currently, we have 77 active cases in Kano, which shows that out of the 489 that we have sent in the past, we got 77 positive. So that shows at the level we are in Kano.
reported mysterious deaths in Kano. What can you tell us about the reported mysterious deaths in Kano?
There are reports, especially over the social media, that there is mysterious, in quote, deaths in Kano. And based on that, we look at the average mortality in Kano. Yes, there are reports of deaths coming on, and yes, it is true that deaths are occurring, and we cannot confirm whether they are from natural deaths or otherwise, but we can confirm that there is no much increase from the average. And we didn't stop there also. The state has actually instituted mechanism to confirm that. One, to confirm the number of deaths, and secondly, to confirm the causes of death, because by that we will know that whether we are dealing with the normal causes of death or whether there is relation to COVID-19. That is why we commence on verbal autopsy to look at the information, to visit these homes, and then to take information about this scenario or situation around the deaths, and to see how we can compare that and sort out those that may look like COVID-19, and then we take samples from them, and then we continue with the investigation. So I can confirm now that the state is at the top of the situation, trying to see how we can come up with a scientific explanation for this.
What can you say about when we will know about this scientific result through the scientific investigation?
For such scientific investigations, definitely you will need time, but in a situation like this during epidemic, you don't wait to the final result. So prelim results will be coming out soon. As soon as we get certain information that is convincing, we'll let you know, and as soon as we get more information, we'll let you know.
So, Sabitish Shanono, thank you so much for your thoughts and coming all the way from our Kano studio. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has flagged off distribution of food and non-food items to displaced persons in Benue State. The relief materials include hygiene materials for the protection of the IDPs and refugees against coronavirus. Hussein Mohammed Isa reports.
Benue State had its share of conflict and other natural disasters that rendered many people homeless and are now taking refuge at IDP camps. The distribution of these food and non-food items by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons is to cushion the effect of the disasters on the displaced persons.
I really appreciate the effort of the government has done to us. Yes, I'm very, very excited.
Federal Commissioner of the Commission, Bashir Garba Mohammed, who launched the distribution, said more relief items are coming to the state.
See, that is mandated to provide care and maintenance to this vulnerable group. We'll continue to do our best to make their lives better.
The rice brought by the Commission was certified to be fit for consumption by the Benue State Emergency Management Agency. The Federal Commissioner had earlier paid courtesy call on the Benue State Deputy Governor Benson Abonu, who recalled how human and natural disasters displaced thousands of people in the state. With over 100,000 refugees and internally displaced persons in Benue State, it is expected that these relief items will go a long way in alleviating their sufferings. In Mokrudi, I am Hussein Mohammed Isa, NTA News.
Nigeria's foremost brewer, Nigerian Breweries PLC, has announced a donation of 600 million naira to the federal and some state governments as part of efforts to support the fight against COVID-19. Ruth Aguele has the report.
In a letter to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, by the Managing Director of Nigerian Breweries PLC, Mr. Jordi Brett Bell, confirmed that the 600 million naira donation comprises of the following: 250 million naira cash donation will go to the federal government through the coalition against COVID-19. 250 million naira cash donation will also go to 7 state state government's task force against COVID-19. Already, Lagos State has received the sum of 100 million naira, while Ogun State received the sum of 50 million naira, both being COVID-19 frontline states. 5 other states, that is Kaduna, Oyo, Enugu, Abia and Imo, will get 20 million naira each, plus 100 million naira worth of relief materials. In addition to that, provision of 5 double-cabin vehicles for use by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control will be distributed in Abuja, Lagos, Ogun and Kaduna states. Now this is to help meet their critical operational needs, especially contact tracing and movement of materials and personnel to isolation and treatment centers. The cost of fuel, maintenance and drivers' salaries will also be covered by the Nigerian breweries. Personal protective equipment such as face masks, 500 gowns and 141,000 units of hand sanitizers will be distributed nationwide to key states. The company will also supply malt, energy and soft drinks to the various COVID-19 NDDC centers nationwide. Now this is to meet their nourishment needs during the crisis. Jody Bell stressed that the company has already taken various steps to ensure that it continues to protect the jobs of its 3,000 employees while supporting its vendors and suppliers during this difficult period. He added that these contributions are in line with the company's belief that public-private partnership is essential to overcome the threat of the COVID-19 virus in the country. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
We have more reports on NTA Network News from our Lagos Network Center with Dotun. Hello, Dotun. How is the lockdown doing in Lagos?
Thank you, Kudu. Definitely, the lockdown is going as expected, as nobody wants an increase in the number of cases here in Lagos. FBN Insurance Limited is collaborating with other insurance companies to provide insurance cover for frontline health workers across the country who put their lives in the line of duty in fighting coronavirus. The company also donated palliatives to residents in 3 axes of Lagos and an ambulance to complement the efforts of the state government in tackling coronavirus pandemic. Amaka O has the report.
FBN Insurance Limited has joined the list of organizations supporting government at all levels in tackling the effects of coronavirus pandemic. The organization gave out thousands of stimulus intervention packs containing rice, beans, semovita and other food items to over 6,000 households at different locations including Ajegunle, Yaba and Agege in Lagos State.
Thank you very much. God, you help you.
Thank you so much. May God continue to be with the giver.
Good news is also coming the way of frontline health workers in the country during the COVID-19 pandemic as they stand to benefit financial security through the magnanimity of this organization.
We are spending first $150,000 on our own, and then we are also supporting the NIA in everything they're doing. And this is our first intervention. We are looking at providing PPE for the staff.
One of the things that we at FBN Insurance as a group are also looking at is how we can come up with products that will serve as a form of intervention in the area of this COVID-19.
An ambulance was also donated to the Lagos State government and received by the wife of the governor, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu. FBN Insurance Limited says over 6,000 insurance policies have been sold to Nigerians and paid insurance claims worth over 2 billion naira within the last 3 weeks, an indication that more Nigerians are imbibing the culture of getting insured. In Lagos, Amaka O, NT News.
The second phase of fumigation of public places as part of measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19 has flagged off in Lagos. The exercise, which is in collaboration with the state government and corporate organizations, is sponsored by Rekit Benkisa, a health, hygiene and home products company. Lynn Leneke reports.
As the cases and death toll from the COVID-19 pandemic continue to rise by the day, government is relentless in steps to curb the spread of the deadly virus. Fumigation and decontamination of major public places with a high rate of human activity is another strategy to reduce community and person-to-person transmission.
If there are infected people, they've touched public places, the bus stops, overhead bridges, and all that, they will be disinfected. So we have partners that are supporting the Ministry of Environment. We have Rekit and Benkisa. They are all supplying chemicals for us.
In this second phase of the exercise by Rekit Benkisa, all the bus stops, pedestrian bridges, and the median from Ojota bus stop through to Ikorodu town and back were disinfected using environmentally friendly chemicals.
We're using 5% sodium hypochlorite, and we're also using hydrogen peroxide solution in some cases. Yes, they are. They've been found to be effective against the virus, and we need to be continuously doing this to make sure we achieve the results.
We are using industrial tankers, high-pressure tankers to target all the bus stops, all the pedestrian footbridges, at least to fight COVID-19 out of our city.
Residents of Lagos commend the exercise.
Very good as they clean the environment so that to send the sickness, disease we cannot see with our eye away.
As an individual, we have to play our own part. Like we are told that we'll be using face masks.
To flatten the curve of COVID-19 transmission chart, Rekit Benkisa is appealing to citizens to support government by adhering to laid down directives. The fumigation exercise is a continuous process. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Network News continues after the break.
Glow Stay Home Data Plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Encourage shopping with the right place, boy. That one no fine. You know, nice. No, it's too dull. This one. Oh wow, it's beautiful. Omo, this fabric. It gon' fade though.
Yeah. Look, make I tell you something. The new area Ankara, it go take good care of it. Lie, not true.
And the price cheap.
Try your Ariel on Ankara and colors now.
A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. She knows when all is not well. And she trusts M&B Paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B Paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. M&B Paracetamol. Pain can't stop you. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we see the world,
the way we work and interact with each other.
COVID-19 affects all of us.
To defeat this human challenge and protect our great country, Nigeria, we must listen to our health professionals.
Stay home. Wash your hands or sanitize. If you have symptoms,
contact the health authorities immediately.
Join the private sector coalition against COVID-19
by supporting any way you can.
Nothing is too small to make a difference. We can do it because we're strong and resilient.
Let's fight to defend our motherland, Nigeria, by working together.
And stay alive together.
We can stay alive.
Stay alive. Stay alive together.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Your hugs are a comfy place for dropping in, for lazing around, and hanging out. So we've designed our hugs to be just as comfy, with a super absorbent cord to lock wetness away, and the soft, flexible waistband. Our most comfortable diaper keeps baby comfy at every angle. We'll never stop finding new ways to hug more like you. Huggies, your hugs inspire ours.
No perfect family may be under threat by germs. Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's One Cupful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Introducing Dettol with aloe vera. Soothing aloe vera with the power of Dettol, which is soft on skin and hard on germs. Be Dettol Sure.
As you can see, I'm at home. I'm reading a book. When I get bored, I watch movies. Life has not stopped. Together we can beat this thing. All we have to do is make sure we do the necessary things, which is wash our hands, use hand sanitizer frequently, wash your hands with soap. Please avoid crowded environments, crowded places. If you must head out maybe to get groceries, use the face mask. So please stay safe, stay responsible, and stay at home.
Welcome back to our Abuja studios. The National Assembly is to reconvene at plenary Tuesday, the 28th of April 2020. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports that the legislators will be considering containment efforts on COVID-19.
On the 24th of March 2020, the National Assembly adjourned in swift reaction to check the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. 43 days after that precaution, both legislative chambers will be reconvening Tuesday, 28th of March. Statements by clerks of both chambers say senators and members of the House of Representatives are expected to sit in plenary by 10 o'clock in the morning. Leader of the Senate, Abdullahi Yahaya, explained that sitting arrangement will be in line with social distancing as the legislators will be reviewing government policies on COVID-19 so far.
To assess the outcome of those interventions in order to assess our performance with a view to making some contributions as to what needs to be done, going forward. So we have already asked the clerk of the Senate to expand the seating arrangement so that we maintain the distances.
The number of media houses that will be covering the sitting will be trimmed down.
We have advised the media group in the Senate to select, I think, 3 media houses, that will represent them, at the sitting.
Lami Ali at the House of Representatives spoke to the Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Media and Publicity.
Thank you very much, Ignatius. The House of Representatives is equally resuming plenary Tuesday. Now, here with me is the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu. Tell us, what protocols are going to be adopted as the House resumes plenary, being that there are guidelines already set?
Protocols, they are going to be in line with the WHO standard, as well as the Ministry of Health. For example, the number of people that will come in to witness what we are doing, we have cancelled that. No more, you're not allowed to come to the gallery.
Now, what are the likely issues that are going to come up tomorrow?
The Quarantine Act is a bit obsolete. Considering the time we are in, there is need for us to do something better than what the Quarantine Act specified. So we are going to be coming up with what we call Control of Infectious Disease Bill.
In the meantime, staff and other aides of members are to work from home as they will be notified when they are needed in the office for any special assignments. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Time to join Dibabari in Port Harcourt for more reports. Hello, Dibabari.
Welcome to Port Harcourt. The forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission has taken off fully with the official handing over of the preliminary reports to the lead consultants of the audit by the Commission's acting managing director, Professor Keme Bradikumon-Ponde. Joy Uzo reports.
Between January 20th and February 7th, 2020, the Niger Delta Development Commission, under a previous interim management committee, carried out a verification exercise in which contractors with claims of genuine contractual relationship with the NDDC were invited to come up with relevant supporting documents. While handing over the preliminary report and incidental documents of the verification exercise to the lead consultant of the audit firm, Olumuyiwa Basiru & Co. at the NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt, the acting managing director, Professor Keme Bradikumon-Ponde, disclosed that over 8,000 projects were captured from the 9 states.
This audit is not for auditing's sake only. It is an exercise which will change the trajectory of the region. It is an objective undertaking to account for the resources available to the Commission over the years.
Hopefully, after the exercise, a new chapter will be opened for the region's rapid economic development.
Each document represents each state. That's how it has been packaged. And that is the same way the auditors will work on them.
The NDDC MD thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for listening to the pleas of governors of the Niger Delta states and other stakeholders to conduct a forensic audit of the Commission. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Nigerian governors Nigerians have reacted to the 2-week interstate lockdown proposed by the Nigerian Governors Forum. The lockdown, according to the governors, has become necessary to curtail community transmission of COVID-19. Nsika Kokon reports.
Since the first confirmed case of the virus, the state government has taken drastic measures to contain the virus. Some of these measures include construction of 300-bed space isolation center at Itumbak General Hospital, provision of special protective equipment at Ibom Multi-Specialty Hospital. Despite the 3 weeks lockdown already declared by the state government, the proposal for the extension of the lockdown by the Forum of Nigeria Governors for another 2 weeks has been described as a welcome development.
I think the border should be closed, not allowing people to come into the state.
It's for our own protection, but we also as citizens will also say that government should also try in their own part to see that they assist those that are not capable enough.
To cushion the effects of the lockdown on the citizens, the state government has provided some palliatives.
The governor of Akwa Ibom State is a very compassionate and empathetic person. My people have been locked down, they stayed at home. Some palliatives must be given to them to provide some support to them. And he did it.
As the residents continue to abide by the health guidelines of COVID-19, they look forward to the end of the deadly virus. In Uyo, Nsika Okon, NTA News.
And that's our bit from Port Harcourt. Network News continues right after the break. Good evening.
On Tuesday Live this week, COVID-19 community transmission and environment. How much has been done in this regard? Tune in to NTA Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. for answers and more. The program will be educative and incisive. Don't.
The first-class traditional ruler in Borno State, Shehu Obama Alhaji Kyari bin Umar Ibn Ibrahim Al-Kanemi, has passed on this Monday in Maiduguri. The sad news was announced by the Borno State Commissioner for Home Affairs and Information, Babakura Abbajatu, during the daily COVID-19 briefing in Maiduguri. Similarly, the President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over the passing of the Emir of Bama, Kyari Umar Ibrahim El-Kanemi, describing him as a humble and unassuming traditional ruler. The president explained that the deceased was a champion of unity and peaceful coexistence. He noted that Nigeria will remember him for his commitment to national unity. While extending his condolences to the Shehu of Borno and the Borno state government over the death, President Buhari prayed Almighty Allah to forgive the deceased and grant him eternal peace in paradise for his good deeds. And that concludes the news tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Well, just before we go, a quick reminder that the repeat broadcast of the presidential address comes up immediately after network news. All NTA stations are advised to stay on the network service.